Okay.
And then I'm going to share, going to open up the meeting minutes. I'm going to share that screen. Oh, where is it? Not that. Sorry. Try that again. Okay. So that's the that we're reminded to uh, um, work under the antitrust policy and to follow that the text out here at all times. And we are all signatories. So we've addressed that and that we are committed to a safe and welcoming community for all. Um, Everybody can read that. Okay. So now we don't have Drummond. Drummond usually was really good about typing into the meeting minutes everything. Does somebody else want to? I can't talk and type at the same time, and I'm going to be the main talker. So does somebody want to type in the meeting minutes as we proceed with today? I put up the Google Doc. Who's a fast typer? Who's a moderately fast typer?
Now, did we have AI, a pan companion? Was that
Yeah,
showing up?
it is running it as well. But
So maybe is there a way for us to
yeah, we could
take
copy and
advantage of that?
paste, but it so yeah, okay.
But we will need
Finding
to, we
it.
need to take a roll call. We want to understand who's showing up to these meetings.
Yeah,
You
that's
made a
right.
commitment to be part of their steering committee, so we have meetings once a month, 12 hours of your life. There you
Okay.
go.
Roll call. Okay.
So we
Uh,
can start working, on that.
and
Um, so I guess one of the first items that we have as Carly is showing on this is the Discord channel. So is there anybody on this call that does not have access to Discord? It's a vehicle that we use to communicate to all of you. Um, and so we do need that to be an option and ensure that everybody has access. So can you raise your hand if you don't have access, and we can facilitate with David getting that access and making sure that you're plugged in. So Carla,
Yes, I
so
have tried to get access, and I've got somebody already who Drummond or Carly referred me to try to help, but we haven't connected yet. I'm just trying to
okay.
be in sent
So
file.
so David, if you just can be aware of that, can you get the right
Rye
players?
Jones, it was.
Rye Jones. Yeah, we had a conversation about
Okay,
Rye.
great. Have you already spoken to him or you're waiting for a
No, I
response?
haven't. I'm waiting for him to get back to me
Okay, you sent an
All
at
email.
right.
this point. So I've tried to register, and I'm hitting a technical problem being able
Okay.
to continue.
Let me follow up with Ryan. I'll follow up in an email to connect all of us.
Thanks.
All right. We got you covered, Carla. All right.
Nicholas, are
So,
you able to join Discord?
I think I have, but
Okay.
I actually have a few discords that I've been juggling, and I think it'd be just worth spinning up a new one from scratch so that it's a clean
Okay.
dependency.
okay.
So
Yeah, let
I'll
us know if there's a problem. Okay.
yeah, it's trivial. No worries. Thank you.
So it's the LFDT, that we fall under. So that's that, we're just a side channel of all the projects under LFDT. So that's what you got to join. All right, there you go. Is there anything else that we needed to talk about on that? All right. So yeah, Carly's gonna hook up with David and and Rye. All right. So next item on the agenda. So it was good. We had a good meeting last time, and we brought in new members of our steering committee. Um, Currently, we have three steering committee co-chairs: myself, Carly, and Drummond Reed. Between the three of us, we discussed it. We're willing to continue to be your co-chairs. However, we want to also present that to the rest of the steering committee members. If there is someone that wants to be a co-chair, there may be an opportunity. Typically, we wouldn't want to have more than four. I can tell you it's probably likely for me to step down as co-chair after this year. Um, so, having somebody, at least, involved in this or, interested or thinking about becoming a co-chair of the steering committee, uh, I'm willing to hold on for the current year. I've enjoyed my association and leading the group and being the signatory on new members and all that, and I will continue to do that if that's what everyone wants. Is there any interest out there to being a co-chair? So, let me know. And even, in between bites, John can, Phillips can chime in if he wants. So, there you go. So anyway, I'll, basically what I'll do is if I don't hear anything in the next 5 seconds, we're going to continue with Carly, myself, and Drummond. So, okay, done. So we'll take that under advisement. Be aware that probably there will be some changes in the next year and subsequent years. We do want to have more different leadership driving this, but I think we have some good momentum. Thank you for your trust in myself, Carly, and Drummond. All right. So the next thing on the agenda is very important to LFDT and wanted to give David Boswell some opportunity to talk a little bit about the LFDT mentorship program. What is it? How do we get involved? You can see there's some information that's in our agenda, but wanted to give David some opportunity to color commentate on that.
That's great. Thank you for that. I'm getting one more link and I'll put it in the chat. This just came out, and this is also information that you might find useful about the program. This is a blog post that just came out that has more information and also has the perspective of people who've gone through this before as both mentors and mentees. So that might be, if you're interested, you might want to check out that link I just also put in the Zoom chat. But this is something the Linux Foundation does every year. We're a strong believer that open source works when there are people who with knowledge and expertise around a project who act as mentors and pass that knowledge and expertise on to people who are new to a project and want to get involved. So we have this structured way where we help facilitate those sorts of relationships throughout the year. So basically, it's a paid mentorship opportunity. The Linux Foundation provides the funding for this. We will be able to support up to, I think, around 15 different mentorship proposals. And this will be people within the community, such as yourselves or the maintainers of other projects who have a project that they want to work with somebody on. Those are the mentors who have the expertise on a given project. And then we'll help pair them with mentees who will do that work over the period of 5 or 6 months. And again, this is funded. It's funded for the mentees. We pay the mentees a stipend to give them the ability to focus on whatever that project might be. So this is something we've been doing year after year. It's very successful. Again, it's something that happens across the Linux Foundation. It's worked well for a number of different open source communities. So if there is work that you'd be interested in doing with somebody else who would come in as a mentee, if you want to be the mentor for that project, and again, work with somebody, the period for submitting project proposals is open now for the next few weeks. It closes on March 6th. At that point, the Technical Advisory Council will review all the different proposals that come in and score them. And then we will take, as many as we can fund. And then again, at that point, we'll help the mentors of the selected proposals match with mentees. You'll have an opportunity to interview people to find the right fit for the person who could work on whatever your project is. And then again, you have a period of around 6 months to work with that person to do whatever it is that you've defined in your project. So it's a great way. A lot of open source projects are asking, how do we bring more contributors in? This is a great way to do that. This will help bring more people. If there's something that you would like to do at Trust Over IP that you'd like some other people to come in and help you with, this is a great opportunity for that. So I'm happy to give more details or more information, but that's it at a high level.
And by the help, you mean also, for example, coding, like developer help, anything? Like, I'm looking for examples.
I mean, it certainly could be. And you can see examples here. Here, I'll get another link. I mean, we're a developer community, so a lot of the mentorship program proposals in the past have been development related, but they don't have to be necessarily. We have had other people do documentation, for example, or research. So it really could, it's up to whoever's proposing the projects. The mentors is up to the mentors to, sorry, I'm just grabbing a link while we're talking so you can see some past examples, but it's really up to the
Yeah. So is the
mentors.
link in the chat? I
No,
didn't see.
it's in the agenda.
Yeah, I put a
Oh,
link.
you put it right in the
I
agenda.
did
Okay,
put a
great.
link in the chat. Here, I'll put another link in the chat.
I didn't see
If
it
you,
show up in the chat.
oh, oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally sent it directly to Carla, not everyone. Sorry about that. I was pinging her earlier. Okay, I'm gonna put the links. Okay. So I just put two links. Are you now able to see the links in the chat?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, and
So there's two
we'll
links.
transfer that.
If
Yeah.
you could click on that first one, you'll get an example of the mentorship projects that were accepted last year, if you want to see some examples. And if you click into it, it goes into a lot of details. You can see, if you want to use one of these as a model. So these are things that were accepted last year. Again, a good model for, the types of projects we've done. And then the other link put in the Zoom chat is to a blog post that just came out that gave some perspective on the program from previous mentors and mentees, talking about their experience. So, but
Yeah,
the
I was
short
looking
answer
for
is yes.
Wenqing, but Wenqing apparently was a mentor. Um, yeah, but he's not here at the meeting. But maybe we can,
Yeah.
get his feedback on what it's like if you're interested in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And so you can have a project that's development related, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, maybe there's something else that you might have in mind for a good proposal. So it's not required that it be development related, but it certainly can be.
Nicholas?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I'm thinking aloud. This is probably not best for me, but would something like what Sam Smith is doing with the Carey Foundation and the state endorsed digital identity work with the state of Utah, would that be an appropriate sort of would this be an appropriate avenue?
If that's a question for me, I will say
Yes.
the process is it's not up for staff to decide. Uh, um, so the process is we have the period open where people can submit mentorship project proposals until March 6th. And at that point, the Technical Advisory Council will review the proposals and score them. So, that's the part where the Technical Advisory Council will look and say, these are the things that seem most relevant for us. So that's really the next
Do, do
step
you
in
do you
the
have a do you have a
process.
rubric, or is that something you keep internal?
So all the information is on the link that I'd shared in the agenda. You can see there about their criteria that we look for. So yeah, I mean
Hmm.
that information's on that link.
Cool.
And so there's a template of how we could fill it out in order
Hmm.
to, okay. So maybe Nicholas, you can talk to the Cary working group and see if they would be interested in completing one of those.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a ton of it's just yet another thread, to get more talent. It's a great offer. I really appreciate
Yeah.
this, David.
Of course, of
Uh,
course. And again, it's worked well before. I will say though that this could be a good opportunity to educate the TAC more about what Trust over IP does. I know that this is
Oh,
relatively new for the TAC, so maybe to help give them some more guidance about what to look for when they're reviewing proposals that might be coming in from the Trust over IP community. I mean, we could talk about how do we have, maybe give our point of view to the TAC, about what they could be looking for when these proposals come in. That might be something they find useful.
yeah. So,
And
Carly?
yeah, also like would development of training materials count?
Mm.
Yeah, again, as I was saying before,
Yep.
it doesn't necessarily have to be development related. I mean, we've had documentation related efforts in the past. I mean, I think training could maybe fall under something that absolutely would be relevant.
Okay.
Excellent.
Mm, good. So we trust over IP, then we will put that into, should we send that out as an email to all members? Should we post it on the Discord?
How about just to working group chairs, and then they can perhaps
Okay.
work with their working groups members?
Yep. Does somebody have a chair list? I know a lot of mailing lists, but I don't know if I know the chair mailing list.
We used to. That's a min question, I think.
Okay. Okay.
I
I
know that we
will.
have them at the working group level, but I'm not sure that there's, because I use them through Eric for the ecosystem governance framework public
Yeah.
review,
Oh,
but
and
I'm not sure that there's one just dedicated to the chairs.
okay. With Min. So if there isn't a mailing list, then I will
I'm sorry,
otherwise in
this a
Discord.
mailing list for the steering committee?
No, for
Yeah, we have that.
Oh.
different
Yeah.
chair. Yeah, that one we got. The chair, the chairs of the different working groups, which might be a bit tricky because ecosystem just changed and I didn't even know to notify somebody about it. So I will ask Min, and then otherwise, do we make a mailing list of chairs or do we reach out to them as we know them?
Or we can send something out to the steering committee members and they can forward it to their working group. I mean, that would be, we do have a steering committee
Yeah.
list, so we'll
Okay.
get it out. It's easy to forward. So, all right. Is there any other discussion on the mentorship, David, before we kind of put the bow on that one?
No, but thanks for sharing it within the community. If people do have questions, I'm happy to answer, or Min runs the program. She can answer as well.
Okay. All right. So the next on the agenda is update on the public release of the Kerry Suite working group specifications. I think Carly was going to lead us in that
Yep.
update and discussion.
Okay, so I was just at the Kerry Suite. They have the monthly meeting right before this. So that was where I had first heard from Sam about the problems with the membership members joining to contribute. From that meeting, so is anyone here not familiar with a DOI?
Yeah, I wasn't, so it was
Okay.
helpful.
And David and Daniela, does the Linux Foundation ever work with DOIs?
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
It's
Okay.
an ISO standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an ISO standard for a persistent identifier, globally unique, continually resolvable because the DOI Foundation handles the resolver. So it goes to URLs. I'm familiar with it from academic publishing, but I know like film uses it for identifying people in works or something like that.
Yeah, media, books, yeah,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
So there is a way, because we are a standards organization, we fit in with the mandate of Zenodo, which is a repository run by CERN. And the repository run by CERN, that's the particle collider in Switzerland, they have the ability to mint DOIs. And that means that So what we want to do with the Carry Suite working group is the three standards. We're finalizing collaborator names. Then we are pre-registering to get a DOI persistent identifier, inserting that into the specifications, and then releasing them as version 1 on GitHub, and then putting that whole copy of the repository. When you do a release, you get a zip. So we'll put that plus associated metadata persistently backed up on the CERN Zenodo, and it will be given a DOI. So it'll link back to the GitHub, but the CERN Zenodo repository will keep a backup of that specification. And then this DOI, you can stick it in a URL so that you'll always have a permanent URL, which will probably outlast trust over IP. It's that stable, and then when you are citing a specification, you can say blah 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 blah. This specification DOI such and such, or the URL with the DOI in it. So it's just a way to really get a permanent URL. And then I will also take a PDF of the specifications. No, put a link from Trust over IP. We also have a permanent link resolver that I don't know how to run yet. And then that will point to also the GitHub specifications. So those links can be used in the future, but the specification will have encoded on it the DOI for permanent identification and
So,
global
so,
resolution.
so Carly, this is the way that I think a set of said URNs are going to be distributed. Is that correct?
So we need said URN, a DOI is a resolvable, and it's a URI, but the URN is because SEDs are not resolvable. So why did we need the DOI? We are applying for a URN for SEDs. And in the URN application, they say everything is great. Now give us a permanent link to the carry specification as part of your application. So they wanted a permanent URL, persistent URL, and that's why I mean, we could do a trust over IP one, but honestly, it's free to do it with CERN and Zenodo and get a DOI. And then it integrates us into global infrastructure as well, because people will count how many times that specification is used, because DOI is all connected together, and the metadata, even if your project disappears, the metadata is still kept by the DOI registrar and stuff like that.
Right. So does
So,
it help for like search engine optimization and other
yep,
metrics? Yeah.
yep.
Okay, cool.
And it gets added to like specialist searches for like academic work and standard work, and it becomes privileged because it has been through this process.
Amazing. That's a great find, Carly.
Yeah, it's a nice and we can do it for free because it costs about $1 each, the DOI. Carla?
Yeah.
Um, yes, thank you. I so we'll be getting three of them since there are three specifications.
Yep.
And I think this is I am familiar with the DOI. I researched it a number of years ago for some work within TC68. And I think that honestly, it's a perfect solution to the permanent URLs, because we already have broken URLs in the ISO specification for 17442 that refers to earlier versions of the carry suite specifications. So using another ISO standard in this, the next time it comes up for revision, as soon as we have them, we can put them
Right.
there as well.
A nice little twist that Zenodo does is that they actually give you two DOIs. One
Oh,
is the umbrella, like the whole carry spec, like the Caesar, and then each version within it gets a DOI. So you get a persistent DOI for the collection.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Got
their
it.
attempt. I see DIDs being the same functionality where you can have a chain of revisions, which is all referenced by the same identifier, but they do it via DOI. They have a special name for it. I can't remember. I'm blanking on it. But anyway, we'll get that. We'll document it and describe it all. And I think the DOI is a great solution. So nice.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just another point of contact, which is now it's all connecting for me. So I'm co-chair of the Creator Assertions Working Group, which is a part of DIF, but part of a joint venture between Trust over IP and DIF to support content authenticity and provenance. And one of those things are identifiers, metadata identifiers you want to tag into content. And so, two major registration agents for DOI are members of COG and are looking to insert DOI related metadata into the COG spec, and that's IDER, the Entertainment Identity Identifier Registry, and Hand ID, which deals with name, image, and likeness identifiers for individuals that are portraying want to attach themselves to a variety of different content for reasons. So having a persistent organization responsible and managing those identifiers are absolutely critical for kind of this ecosystem of tagging identity to that type of activity.
And then perhaps from this Linux Foundation might want to look at this for other specifications as well in the future. You can watch us be guinea pigs and then see if it's something that's valuable for other projects. And the status of the blog post, Nico, we didn't meet up. So does somebody, I think it would be valuable to have a blog post in time to go with our DOI so that we could publish them all together. Nico, do you want to work on a blog post for the release of the Carry Suite Working Group specs, the three of them?
I would love to. When would you like to meet?
Okay. Let me connect offline, and then we will. So I will work with Nico on the Carry Suite blog post.
Yeah, sorry, I've been incredibly busy.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure you have been as well, but no excuse. Let's get that
connect
in
and
the
then get it done.
yeah
Okay.
yeah exactly. Wonderful.
Okay. So that's Carly and Nico. Action. On to the next one. Scott, can you take the lead on that?
Yeah. To the degree that I can. So,
Yeah, I can fill in.
it came up, obviously as we're building out our specification template of how do we get items from working groups through to endorsement by the steering committee. Then we kind of offer it up and we said, well, what do we do with that? And so we solicited the assistance of Jory Burson, she is the standards lead for all of the Linux Foundation, and really was helpful in kind of talking through what options we can do. And a lot of it has to do with really what's the affiliation with other standards development organizations. And so, matter of fact, what she was soliciting is she was trying to find out from our organization, where are we connected? Are we connected with certain ISO, standards committees? Are we connected with W3C in some ways? Do we have an affiliated relationship where we can then take our standards and then promote them through other standards organizations to get them globally recognized? And we need to do that. We need to consider that. We need to do that. That's the last mile. And obviously we need to extend our documentation to make that happen. And so Drummond obviously is we're all kind of having some investment in Spec Up T. He's soliciting some, group to get together and putting together a template in Spec Up T that we can take our specification and put it in that kind of format that we can then be able to communicate with other standards bodies to get endorsement in that way. So jury is at the jury is at the waiting, but we do need to kind of we need to have some discussions. We need to finalize how we take and take advantage of some of the opportunities to extend our specifications into other organizations. That's about all we're at today with that. We just had an initial meeting, kind of laying out the foundation about what we need. So for our organization, we do need to have internal conversations through our steering committee and the working groups. Do we have any affiliation? Where do we see different specifications coming out of different working groups? And how do we want to apply them to other recognized standards group like W3C or ISO or anything else that you're seeing? So we need feedback of that. And first, it'd be good if there's any knowledge about that or any insights within steering committee members about how that goes. I know certainly Carla, you've been actively involved in the ISO world and all that, and maybe you can provide some feedback and assistance of how we take advantage of some of those, those parties.
About how to become active members,
Or
perhaps
how do
within
we get
ISO?
our specifications into a, let's say, ISO spec? So I know you've been
Oh yeah,
successful.
I've definitely signed up for that years ago. So yes, that's on my to-do list. Yes.
Yeah, well, certainly there's a liaison part, and I think maybe years ago we had an liaison. Well, we really don't, as far as I can remember, we don't really have any liaison with any working groups within ISO.
That is
And
true.
and that's something that obviously, if we want to get ISO's attention, we need to do
Yes.
that. And ISO has its
Uh,
own. I've had experience working on at ISO, and it's process. It's process. And there. So we need to make decisions both at the steering committee level and the working group level is where do we feel like we can get the best traction for our emerging specifications. So to be continued. And maybe I think Drummond really wants to kind of seem like he wanted to carry the flag on that one. So
And
um,
he was looking for any editors to the Spec Up T. You don't maybe have to know how to work with Spec Up T, but he would like an ad hoc group to make suggestions about the outline of what goes into Spec Up T, and it also would be valuable uh, to get since our first specifications have come out of Kerry, if they have any insight, maybe about what worked and what didn't work and what should be continued on in Spec Up T. Because I think we want to use
to
Kerry
prepare the rendered versions of the specifications.
the draft, the template that future specifications will also follow. So I think Carrie did a pretty good, so yeah, so to be like going through what Carrie did and learning from Carrie and then making a template available so that everybody makes specifications that look the same and read the same. So yes, so maybe don't all jump out at once for talking with Drummond. Yeah. John Phillips, thank you. I will add your name and tell Drummond. Uh, and if anyone else would like to add their name, and then just reach out to Drummond about what goes into what all of our specification templates should look like. Okay. Um, liaison relationships for within Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. We were collecting the names of, trying to recollect if we have set up any previous liaison relationships, and if any of the steering committee members remember documentation that was signed years ago, setting up a liaison, like with was there one with Etsy or something like that? And I don't know any others, but if anyone here has memory, we need to track that down.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked a little bit about that. I think that we may have wanted some things. There was some individuals that are not on the steering committee that was interested in establishing some connections, but I don't think we've kept up with that. And that's something you need to do in order to kind of get that going. But that's an investment in time and energy to get those connections.
So in the future liaisons, what are our goals? What do we want to aim for here? Like, is this something to cover our backs? Are we trying to complement work we have? Are we trying to accentuate some of the work we've done? What would you say the recommendation would be?
Well, if the work that we're doing is local to Trust over IP has a certain footprint.
Hmm.
If we want to, and some other organizations like W3C and ISO have a wider footprint. So if we want that wider footprint, we need to establish the linkages
Right.
from our organization to them, be able to establish that we can feed the specifications through to working groups for maybe faster path acceptance, since it's already been, worked through and gone through a process of a JDF process, which they recognize. So, um, we're just looking at opportunities now that we're generating specifications for maximized, acceptance, and that would be the reason.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of like an advocacy vehicle for the technical and formal governance models we're building over here.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you an example. So, I'm working, as people realize, at the C2PA,
Yep.
and there's a specification, and it sits within the specification. It's and whatever the C2PA has as far as its name recognition and people following it and going through the conformance program, but it's not an ISO standard. And some, since C2PA is global, some people wanted to make it an ISO standard so that it's under that governance structure. And so that process started last year, and Leonard Rosenthal is working through that process to get it to be an ISO standard, and then greater recognition. It's not just something that a bunch of tech companies and Scott Perry worked on. Now it's something that with ISO you have nation states that have advocacy groups that participate in ISO and voting rights and these types of things.
Yeah, I mean, there could be an entire strategic discussion about this. I think, obviously I don't want to muck up the steering committee flow too much. Just thinking about different ways we can attack verticals and horizontals. It might be worth pursuing if we really want to aggressively pursue that.
Yeah, well, I mean, for your answer, really, what does Kerry want to be when it grows up? Does it want to be an ISO standard, right?
Yeah.
And maybe
So,
that's something that the working group is interested in. That's on the table. Okay.
Perfect.
Mackie.
All right.
Yeah,
Mackie.
actually, I wanted to add that, as part of the ecosystem governance working group, so, we've, discussed a five-pillar strategy, including enhancing our cooperation when it comes to our internal working groups. So one of those is like Kerry, looking into the Kerry stack, how we can position it for growth. So I think this could also be an amplifier to the activity, the next activity with ISO. So I think if we start internally to align in terms of our messaging and what value and change we're going to bring to the landscape, and then having the next discussion with the liaisons, we agree, including ISO.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so with that on the table, the next point is I think the last 2 points are fairly quick. There's the Human to Human Summit on Human Agency. Is that a lot of humans? Did I miss that up? There's an invitation to join, and so invitation only, and Drummond can get you invitations if you would like to join in the summit. And it's right before Linux Foundation, isn't it?
Yeah, I put a link in the chat, and there you go. You have it up. So, Drummond's been actively working with the conference or the one-day conference organizers, and has announced that they have all sponsors. So they are now willing to just give away. They want to see as many people as they can, and hopefully, I think there's capacity for 300 people, and I don't think they've met that yet. So if you are, especially if you're attending the LFDT summit, you have an extra day here to get kind of the birth of, having a conference specifically about this topic, which is human agencies and dealing with, and obviously there's a lot of discussion about first person project, decentralized trust, AI agency, and agentic AI, and all those types of things. So it certainly will be, at the ground floor, a very interesting set of topics by a number of individuals and companies that are very dedicated to advance this. So, um, you know, should be a good event for, and we'll get some good feedback. I think Drummond is very active in a number of sessions.
Good. And so reach out to Drummond by email or whatever, or on Discord if you would like to get an invitation to that.
Yeah, and
And
so, and the other thing, I mean, he's also presenting, um, the one application that the first person project is centering around is around the Linux kernel. And so Jim Zemlin, who's the head of the Linux Foundation, will be at the H2H event. And, they will be starting to demo some of the work to satisfy some of the use case that they are trying to solve using these types of credentials coming out of the decentralized trust graph and first person project. So will be interesting, and I think, once you see demos, and Drummond had showed that he had a separate conference, and it was interesting that they're starting to get product out and demonstrations and use cases, and that's a good sign.
excellent. Mackie put in the chat the ecosystem and governance working group strategy. So the beginning of every year, the ecosystem working group, ecosystem and governance working group, kind of lays out what their plans are for the next year. So you can have a look at that. And that was aligning to the comments about the liaison stuff. And then finally, the continuing on, because right after H2H is the Linux Foundation Members Summit. And Daniela, or I guess David is gone. If Daniela is here, do you want to make any comments about the what the submissions are for presentations at the Linux Foundation?
The member summit?
At the member summit, yep.
Yeah, so that's, the human agency that Scott just talked about, that happens on Monday, the 23rd. And then on the 24th and 25th, we is the Linux Foundation member summit, not the LFDT. That was two
Right.
weeks ago. We
Okay.
we make a lot of foundation, a lot of foundations, a lot of summits. So there are a couple, let me just put it in here. There are a couple of sessions that are going to be focused on
The Linux kernel maintainer verification project and the decentralized trust of the Internet of Agents.
correct, yeah.
Okay, Drummond wrote those in. So yeah, so if you are good, I will
Yeah,
thank you,
you know
Danielle.
what?
I will
I can
put
put it
that.
into I'll put the exact details into the agenda.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so
Um,
if you're going to be there,
yeah.
check it out. Sorry, you were going to say something, Daniela?
There's also a workshop. Um, sorry, I have too many windows open. There's also a workshop happening on Wednesday. So let me put that details there for you all. All right. So I'm just sorry, I'm just gonna paste this in here and then I'll fix the formatting in a second.
Mhm.
Mhm. And for all of you who are Linux Foundation members, if you're an LFDT member, you're also a member of the Linux Foundation. If you have not received your registration code, just let me know. It goes to the voting contact and the marketing contact at all members as well. So just ping me if you need it. You do need a ticket to get into the Linux Foundation Member Summit, like you do need one for the Human Agency.
Okay. Good. We're at the end of our agenda. Is there any other business from members for the last of our steering committee meeting? Martina.
Apologies for extending this. Just very briefly, because I was kind of busy with taking notes on the DOI. You very nicely explained what it is, but did we get to the point to say how we can use it for the specs, actually?
Yep. So
Not sure if I missed it.
yep. So what we will do is that you can go to I will work with Carrie and Sam and in order to mint these DOIs, and in this instance, you go to Zenodo. I have to set up a committee or a community. I have to set up a community to which several people can belong so that it's not locked behind one person's login. And then when that person leaves, then you can't do anything else. So I have to set up a committee for the Carry Suite working group. Or should I set up? No, I will set up the committee for the Linux for Trust over IP, and then the Carry Suite working group will join that. Like Sam can join that, and then you go to Zenodo, you start the process in order to you mint a DOI, or actually you reserve a DOI. You get the DOI, you put it in your stuff, and then you go through. You have to enter the metadata in, like who's the author and stuff like that, and then you upload the files, and then that appears in the repository. And when it's published and it doesn't, you can't edit it. If you edit it, it's a new version of within the DOI. So that's how that system works. Nicer is they have a GitHub plugin. So what we've been doing with the specs at Guelph is that when you connect the GitHub little program, sorry, when you get the Zenodo plugin working in GitHub, every time you do a public release in GitHub, it auto sends it off to Zenodo and gives it the new DOI and the new version, etc. But then you can't go back and take that DOI and stick it in your document because now you have a new version, and then so that's why because Sam wanted the DOI in the documentation itself, that's why we have to do a pre oh, I had the word for it. You can reserve a DOI and start the process.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So because of the Zenodo GitHub link, any repository on GitHub can be connected to Zenodo, backed up, and granted a DOI. Just FYI. I think it has to be public though. Yeah. Okay, so with that, we conclude the steering committee meeting for February, and we will meet again in 5 weeks. 5-ish weeks. Didn't count exactly. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. And we finished a bit early, and let us know, of course, for any points that you would like on the next time steering committee meeting. We can add that to the agenda. Excellent. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Scott.
See you soon.
Cheers,
All
guys.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.